Casey's is a premier garden center and gift shop located in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Casey's offers a wide selection of plants, landscaping materials, home and garden decor, and gifts for every occasion. Casey's is committed to providing exceptional service, a unique shopping experience, and value to every customer. Stop in and see what makes Casey's so unique. Located at 21481 State Line Road, Lawrenceburg, Indiana, or call 812-537-3800. Let Casey's help you add beauty to your home.
All right. Hey, guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another show of Merle.
Well, that's kind of how it is. I've been running the show.
Well, that's
where
true.
have you been?
Welcome back to Strong Dads here. I'm back in the studio here. See, I take a week off, and this is what I get.
You forget who you are.
I forget. At least I didn't say rock solid family.
Did you change your identity when you were gone? How about your gender?
No, none of that. Well, I was glad to see Tony. Tony held his seat down just fine.
He did very well. Yes, he did.
Yep. Anyways,
he's a good man.
How you doing today, Merle?
I'm pretty good. You know. It's about time for me to start to crank up my whining and pouting season because we're coming into cold weather.
The bones are starting to hurt.
Yeah, well, you know,
is that anything normal?
I played. That's going to be our topic today. We're going to talk about hurting bones. But played golf last Friday. I was bragging to you. I mean, I haven't played much golf this year, but I was just smoking the ball. I was so full of myself. But it was a lot of fun. But now my knee's all jacked up. I've been limping since Friday. So this is the bad knee. The good knee's already been replaced, right? So I already have. But the other one I've been putting off, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So good thing we're doing a show where we can sit
down. Yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys are out there. I hope you're having a good week. Excited.
Wait, how are you?
I'm good.
How's it? Yeah.
I'm good. I haven't played golf as much as you. I've
only played once.
That's kind of like winding down a little bit. So I'm going out a couple of days here for my brother's birthday. So we kind of convinced him. He's not a big golfer, but he's like, sure, I'll go play. So we're going to play here in a couple of days. So I'm excited to go play.
Good.
But anyways, yeah, we're back doing another show. We got a little series coming up here. You want to kind of explain the series a little bit?
Well, you know, we're in October, and so it's that evil, creepy Halloween time. Yeah, so we are going to we're going to talk about the evil ways that Satan attacks us, all right? And the idea here really is to help bring some recognition and attention to how we are under attack, that there is a spiritual warfare going on, and not just in the month of October. This just happens to be the time we're going to talk about it, but how Satan can work on us. And I do kind of want to talk just for a second about that whole idea of whether you believe in, spiritual warfare, right?
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But I know there was a time when I thought, what? Well, that's something for the movies or whatever. Yeah. But there's definitely some stuff going on behind that scene that's interesting to look at.
Yep. So as you said, Merle, this little series we're going to do is going to be a 4 weeks. We're gonna again talk about the four ways that Satan attacks us. This week we're going to touch on the physical health and kind of the approach that has a part of it. We're going to talk about the money, the relationships, and then the self-righteousness. So I think it'll be a good little series. I hope you guys are excited to kind of dive into this with us again over the next 4 weeks, including this one. We'll jump into that. So.
Yeah, and just to be clear, these are not the 4 ways that Satan attacks us, but these are 4 ways. I mean, I don't think Satan's ever running short on ways that he can attack us. Good point. Yep. But these are definitely 4 areas that when men come into me, I'm probably going to be talking something in these 4 areas, mostly a lot of relationship stuff or whatever, but these are big areas that we get attacked in, and if we don't know that we're being attacked or we don't know how to handle the attack, the next thing we become a victim of it.
Like it. Yep. So let's thank our sponsors, and we can jump right into it. So here at Strong Dads, we'd love to thank the Quality Automart. I can't talk today. See, it's a week of break. It's really getting me. Quality Automart for joining us as a sponsor for Strong Dads Podcast. Thanks so much for them. Really appreciate them coming alongside of us. Check them out down in Batesville, Indiana. I'm really struggling today. Maybe eventually it'll come.
Yeah, it'll come.
Okay.
after 30 minutes, guys, you'll get him.
So, yeah, check them out in Batesville, Indiana. We really do appreciate them.
All right. I also want to thank Casey's Outdoor Solutions for being a sponsor of the Strong Dads podcast. So thanks to Casey and all his crew out there that do a great job of just the landscape work as well as the gift shop. I mentioned before as we come into the fall season, that's a huge time where they're putting a lot of neat stuff out there. So go down there and beautify your home through Casey's Outdoor Solutions.
Good deal.
All right. So question.
All right. Possibly an answer.
Yeah. So we're talking today about physical health.
Yep.
Okay. And this is not necessarily going to be a fitness show. All right.
Yes.
But but we are going to talk about just the physical. Okay. Right. And how Satan can attack us, or how we feel like, what the heck's going on here? What's the sickest you've ever been? Can you think of a time like, man, I didn't know if I was going to make it?
Well, I guess I have good genes because knock on wood here, I've golly, I really don't want to say.
Do you really want to say this?
I don't get sick, Merle. Yeah.
Occasional cold, maybe.
Occasional cold. From 5th grade to when I graduated my senior year, I didn't miss a single day of school.
Wow.
Perfect attendance.
I'm like in royalty here.
I know. Well, see, the problem is my brother was really smart. My sister was really smart, and I missed all the smart genes. So in order for me to even be at like a C level, I had to show up to school.
Young Kyle, we all have our gifts. We all have our gifts. That's what your mom would say.
That's what my mom said. My mom used to tell me,
what's my gift,
in order for there to be above average people, there's got to be average, intelligent people. I'm like, yes, thanks, Mom.
What's my gift, Mommy? Well, you're a healthy little turd.
So I again, I reluctantly say I typically do not get sick. I can remember I got mono and I still went to school. That's not a good idea for you guys out there. Don't let your kids go. So I had mono, I remember, and I ran a cross country race, and I remember passing out. So the next thing I knew, I kind of remembered foggy waking up in the hospital. So I will say that time I had mono.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. Again, not a good story here.
Did you ever get COVID bad or anything like that?
I did get COVID, and it was, I had a headache. That was the extent of that. So
okay.
Wow. I don't know. I'm nothing special, but
you've never had like a bad accident or something where you were laid up in the hospital or anything like that?
No.
Golly.
Well, see, you work on your physical health, and I work in the medical field,
so
my immune system gets worked out a lot.
Yeah, but you don't even tend to your physical, and I've got a whole list of different things that have sidelined me, and I'm all broken up, but yet I pay attention to my physical health. Yeah, so maybe I got this all backwards.
Maybe I'm onto something. What about you? The sickest you've ever been?
So sickest, gosh, I hate to say this too. I do not really get sick very often at all. I can't even really tell you about a fever. I think maybe I had a fever back in April. And I don't know whether I had a little COVID or whatever. I felt a little cruddy. But I don't get like this long-term sick stuff. I do get colds,
sure.
Sinus stuff. I think probably when I think about like feeling debilitated is my whole time or chapter of my life about dealing with the anxiety and kind of being sidelined there, not being healthy, not being able to do the things I did, and just kind of retreating from life. And that was a prolonged time. And when I think back, that's why I kind of refer to that as a mental illness time. That was not pleasant. Don't want to ever go back.
Yeah.
And was very frustrated. I will say when I went through that phase, and I've mentioned before, that was also something that brought me to my knees, that brought me into my faith at a level that I had never been before.
Okay.
And it's a big reason why we do what we do today with Rock Solid Families. That was sort of the precipitating factor that made me say, I've got to do better. I've got to figure this out.
Yep.
So anyway, but yeah, I'm generally pretty healthy other than my
next week we're not going to be here because both Merle and I are going to be out sick.
We're dead. So that's probably something we shouldn't be joking about.
Don't put that evil on me.
No. All right. Well, so the idea here is us dealing with being attacked by Satan, okay? And so I do want to talk for a second about spiritual warfare. And like I said before, probably even 15 years ago, if you would have mentioned the idea of spiritual warfare, I would have been like, yeah, what are you drinking? I don't know if I bought it completely. It was a storybook kind of idea.
Yeah.
How about you? Did you always have an understanding of spiritual warfare or not?
So I think, as you start to grow deeper in your relationship with Christ, I think that's when you actually realize a lot of the stuff that goes on in this world is actual spiritual warfare. I think as maybe someone who doesn't, and again, not claiming that I know, a lot about this Jesus guy, but I think as you kind of start to develop in your faith, I think that's when you actually realize that the mess that this world is, the spiritual warfare plays a huge part in that. I think, that Satan does a really good job of keeping people divided and not allowing people to see the common ground with each other. I think the spiritual warfare comes in when it comes to, a lot of the social issues that we currently deal with in this country. I think Satan uses those as like, chess pieces that he's using. He's going to play a certain chess move because he knows what that's going to do to relationships. Because I think obviously Jesus is all about relationship and Satan is all about dividing those said relationships. So I think, you can call it whatever you want, but I think at the end of the day, there definitely is that spiritual warfare that is being played, and Satan's doing a really good job of moving those pieces in certain directions.
Yeah, I mean, it's because we are physically bound by our senses. We don't, if we don't see it, hear it, touch it, feel it, those kind of things, we tend to minimize it or even eliminate it like it doesn't exist. But I think there's an intuitiveness in us that makes us go, something's going on here. And I think, over the years, over centuries and stuff, different terms have come about, whether we say, I've got good luck today. Like I had good luck on the golf course the other day, right?
Right.
Or I've got bad luck. Or, that's karma. Yeah. Right. And no matter whether you're Christian or not, it seems like every piece of human culture has like this unseen thing that they all will acknowledge. Yeah. And whether you associate with Christianity or some New Age thing, but there's something else going on there. Is I guess my point.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and the vice versa, the same can be said when you're having good luck or you're things are going your way. Who are you giving the credit to? Do you feel like that's totally a God thing, like God's providing, He's showing up, or do you feel like I did this, and I was able to whatever accomplish whatever? I think so. The flip side of it, yes, that bad luck. I think we can equate that and go back to the root of that. And I think when there's good luck or whatever you want to call it, I think that's a time to recognize who God is and His very nature.
Yeah, yeah. So the idea, I think of, if I understand that God is of all things good, like God is perfect and God only does what is His nature. And so anything that's of His nature is the right thing, whether I like it or not. Yeah. And Satan is the opposing force, And as goofy as I am, I'm like, if you take live, L-I-V-E, and you live it backwards, if you go against, it's evil. Yeah. Right. And just a little
very cliche,
mnemonic device of us going, man, when evil is when we try to live it backwards, when we try to go against how God has us formed to live, and we go against it, bad things happen. Okay. And so I think it's just important for us to recognize there is something on a different level, and we can try to rationalize and explain things away through science and other things. And when we don't know that science gives us the answer, we go, well, it just is what it is. But I think Scripture helps us with this. Scripture has been very clear to help me understand, no, there's a whole different plane going on. In Ephesians 6:12, it says, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places." This isn't anything new, right? So I also think in 2 Corinthians, there's a scripture that kind of relates to what we're going to talk about today. 2 Corinthians 10:3-5, it says, "For though we walk in the flesh," all right, and so that was speaking to our physical being, our physical presence, "we are not waging war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but have divine power to destroy strongholds. We destroy arguments and every lofty opinion raised against the knowledge of God, and take every thought captive to obey Christ." And so, here Paul's talking about be reminded, this is not about your flesh, even though your flesh is where you feel it and experience it. It is not about that. It is on a totally different level.
Yep. Which I think, those really just kind of point out this idea that, man, Satan, his ultimate goal is to go after our soul, right? He wants to completely grab a hold of our heart and our soul, and he wants to own that, right? He wants to have his realm in those areas. And I think, a way in which he does that, and again, that's what we're going to be talking about today, is this idea of the physical health. I think if Satan can attack your physical health, man, he is, again, not that he's got total, he's not captive over your soul, right? He doesn't belong there. But I think that is a way in which he can kind of, start to interject and start to move those pawn pieces that I was talking about before. Because I know this is true for my life. I know that when I get home after a long shift and I'm tired, and my girls come up and they're excited to see me, physically I'm not in a good place, and I know that he is using that against me to try and put that in a bind in my relationship with my kids, because, man, I'm tired, I don't feel good, I'm not in a good place. Think about the times when you're hungry. Heck, they even have a name, the hangry, right? Like if you're not fueling yourself, your physical health is not at its peak performance, right? Man, Satan, he's using that to try and get that stronghold over your soul.
Yeah. So I was thinking, the other day about, I might have been watching an MMA fight or something like that, which Linda loves when I have those on, right? I don't watch a whole lot of MMA.
Yeah.
I don't, because it's kind of like a train wreck. Once you start watching it, you can't not look, but you're like, this is not good. There's something about it that's
I cannot imagine stepping foot in a ring with someone who wants to do nothing more
but then
beat the living snot out of me. I can't do it, Merle.
I know,
But kudos for those guys who do, man.
Yeah,
that's
totally and I came from a wrestling world and stuff, but it's different. Wrestling is so much different than just intentionally pounding somebody's head.
Gosh.
But I was watching, and when you think about boxing or you think about MMA fighting, from a newbie who watches it goes, well, knock him out. And they always talk about the number of knockouts that guys have, And a knockout, if you ever watched MMA or even boxing, I mean, there's a knockout punch, and that knockout punch is one that's usually delivered into the chin, and it basically just rattles that brainstem to the point where the body shuts down.
Yep.
And you can watch a knockout punch, watch it in slow motion, and you'll watch, as soon as that happens, you'll watch the knees buckle, because basically all neurotransmission from brain to muscles has just shut off. We just unplugged the cord. And so you'll just watch that person collapse. And obviously that's a win for the guy who issued the punch and a loss for the guy who received it. But Satan does not always go for knockout punches. In fact, it's pretty rare. And if you look at fighting, it's pretty rare that you just go for knockout punches, because if you're always looking to hit the home run, chances are you're going to get beat up.
Yeah, your defenses get put down a little bit.
Yeah, because you're always looking for the big swing, and the big swing might leave you wide open. And so what you actually see so much more of, and this is where our topic goes today, are the body punches. The body punches, where you're constantly taking these 6, 7, 8-inch little punches to the gut, to the chest, to the arms and the legs, and they don't knock you out, but they hurt. They hurt, and you watch these guys grimace when they take a gut shot and stuff, and it's the accumulation that wears guys down, and they get into these later rounds, and they're just like, my body is not functioning. My head might still be in the game, but my body's not. And so what we're talking about here is how effective over the long haul body shots or the falling apart of the body, how it actually makes us lose the fight, okay? And so as we talk about this today, let's talk about our own physical body, all right? I was joking about my knee. My dad's 88, and he was always strong. I mean, he was a guy of the flesh, right? He was strong. He was tough. He could do anything, you know. I mean, when he was 75 years old, I remember being over at his house with all the grandkids, and it was snowing outside. And he opens up the garage door, and he brings all the kids outside. He's got a sled hanging up. He's 75 years old, okay? He grabs the sled, and he says, "Come on, kids, let's go sled ride." And he just starts running with the sled, and he dives on the sled going down the hill. And just, I mean, the kids are laughing.
75?
75, and he just dives right out and lands on that sled. I mean, and so he was always very physical that way and able to do it. And that's how he responded. Like, man, that brought joy to him. And then his body really started to fall apart. And what happened was his body fell apart, and then his mind, his depression, his worthiness started to drop. I'm good for nothing. I can't do anything anymore. Why am I even here? And so it was the body shot, so to speak, that revealed to him, I don't know how much longer I want to do this.
Yeah.
And I saw that. I see that with him. He's still alive with us, but I see now he's a shell of himself in so many ways. And I see that with myself. You know, I'm not able to do some things that I did even 10 years ago because of the knees and stuff. And it's like, and I know that Satan is trying to own me in some of these areas.
Man, I think that really, as you're talking, Merle, it just made me think. You know, I don't know if I'm a young whippersnapper anymore, but man, I think a lot of guys, you know, mid-20s, 30s, we take this idea of physical health, we take this for granted. That, you know, I remember thinking I'm invincible, right? Like nothing can hurt me, and I think we take it for granted. I know for sure in the fire world we're very our job is very physically demanding, and it requires us to be physically healthy, right? And so early on in my career, you start to realize that like I'm invincible, nothing can touch me. And then as I've gotten older, I start to realize, man, the importance of actually taking care of myself. Again, I know we joke all the time that I'm not exactly someone you're going to find in the gym, right? But also, I recently went to the doctor because I was having some heart palpitations, right? So physically, I was not, you know, feeling very good, and the doctor gave me some news I had to kind of take serious, and so
you were all jacked up on caffeine.
I know, so I've cut my caffeine intake, and again, I just think at a younger age we kind of take it for granted, and I think, you know, it starts to catch up to you at some point, as obviously I'm sure someone like you who's a little bit older and wiser can attest to.
Definitely older. I don't know about the wiser.
So I mean, you can attest to this idea that, you know, that your physical health again really plays a part in the mental health. You know, and as we kind of get it more into this, obviously there's kind of intertwined so much with each other.
Yeah, and so I asked the question like, why should we be in tune with all of this? What, your mic's falling apart there, brother?
See, my mic's falling apart.
See,
I can't.
Everything. You're good. Mount that, dude. Just do it from underneath. You got it. All right. It's technical difficulties, but hey, you know what? We're real here, so just deal with it, right?
Right. There we go. I think we're good. Live action.
So, you know, part of our deal is I have got to be ready to do battle. We've talked about before the idea of sometimes when we need help, we go, well, I'll just pray for this person, or I'll pray for this situation. And we are all about, we do need to pray, and we need to invite the Spirit to come into us, to fill us. But at the end of the day, if I just invite the Spirit to come into me and then I deny it, or I just sit there and not use my body, I am the hands and feet, right? We are all the hands and feet. And so I need to have my working vessel as workable as it can be, so that I can carry out the work that needs to be done. And so I think part of this is the reason why we're going into this physical thing is, dude, if you want to help promote the message, the way that we worship is through our daily work. It is through our daily work. We think about worship being something we do as we sing songs at church, but worship, the greatest form of worship is how you live your life as the hands and feet of Christ, okay? And when I say that, then I need to be understanding my capabilities and protecting my capabilities, my physical health, my physical strength. And so it's really important that we don't minimize that, and we use it well and protect what we have, all right? And so let's talk about, like, well, how do you take care of it, right? Well, just like you said, your physical health, all right? You get to the doctor now and then. Check it out. You don't need to be a hypochondriac, but you need to be aware of how the systems are working.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, strength is an important factor. Whenever I have felt weak, like I can't do something, I can't lift something, I just felt like not very good.
Yeah.
I want to feel strong for myself.
Yeah.
And so doing measures that keep your strength up, your physical strength. And I say that because that's one gift that we know that most men have over any other gender. and we have about 20 different genders these days.
Something.
Yeah. But the idea here that men are coming with a strength that women don't have. And so for us to acknowledge that and to use it well, so take care of your strength.
Yeah.
Are you able to lift? Are you able to carry? As a fireman, we were talking about some of the agility tests and stuff that you guys have to do. And you mentioned the one test that tends to kick the women off, or they fail the test, is basically a lifting test.
Yep.
And we would like to say, well, we should take that off so the women can pass. You're a fire person, right?
Yeah.
You're a fireman. You might have to actually do this physical task in real world. So,
well, and talking about the physical agility test in the fire world, as we start looking at this, this idea of being ready for the battle. So whatever you want to call it, obviously as a believer, we would call it a spiritual warfare. Whatever you want to call, the bad karma or the, dark times in your life, man, those are happening, right? They're all around us. If you want to consider it spiritual warfare, that would be considered a battle. We're heading into battle, and I think it's really important to understand that we need to always be ready. I was kind of told you, as we are moving through this show, this is the part that I kind of equate back to what I do in my profession as a firefighter. Man, I know every single morning when I show up to work, I have to be ready. And so we get our gear set out. I get my gear set out exactly how I want it. I make sure my gear is prepared and ready to go. I check my SCBA to make sure that when I go inside that fire, I can actually have the ability to breathe inside there. Make sure all my tools are in a position that I know that they're going to be there ready for me. They're clean. They're ready to be, operate at the highest level. And I think the same could be said about this going into spiritual warfare. Man, we have to be prepared. We have to know, that it is gonna happen. There's no chance about it. It's going to happen. There's gonna be battles that are gonna going all around us because again, Satan wants to continue to move those pawns. And one of the ways he's gonna do that is to take away our physical health. And if we're not prepared for that, if we haven't gone back to the drawing table and start to analyze and realize the things that we have failed in previous battles that we've gone to, then we're never going to get any better. We always have to continue learning. For me in the fire world is huge because the fire service is ever evolving, and so is the way Satan's going to continue to try and attack us. He's not going to do the same thing every single time. He's going to use different ways to try and attack your physical health because if you fight him off, today, tomorrow he's going to approach you in a different way. So I think just a good starting place is just always being prepared for the battles because they're going to come.
Yeah, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so working with a guy, and he was always a strong guy in terms of physically, just well-conditioned and stuff. But he made a comment. He's like, man, I know I'm not good. Like, I went out and I was using the chainsaw the other day, and it was like every 5 minutes I had to take a break because my arms couldn't hold the saw up high above my head, cutting limbs down. When you guys are on the fire scene, how long will you be? What can you expect if you're in a burning building? How long? 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour that you're going to be moving and shaking. You're going to be having to do a task. What's the work length?
So our SCBAs are actually rated for a time frame. So we have 30-minute bottles. So you can expect if you were basically, and they rate these at basically sitting still and not moving for 30 minutes, you'll be just fine. So obviously, as you can imagine, inside of a fire, you have a lot more going on than just standing there. So a lot in the fire service, yes, there is a strength factor. A lot in the fire service is cardio related. How long can you last? There's going to be physical aspects of this, but when you come out, in 15, 20 minutes from working your tail off inside the fire and you get another bottle, can you go back in and start doing the exact same things again? Because on a fire scene, it's the highs and lows close, right? So you're in there. The first 15 minutes of the fire scenes are the most grueling, the most strenuous, the most taxing on your body. You get that 15 minutes. You come out. You're going to get a little bit of break, 2-3 minute break. You're going to get a bottle. Can you do another 10 minutes of hard, strenuous work, and then you're going to come out and get another bottle? Can you go back in and do another 15 minutes of strenuous work? And so a lot of the fire service is how long can you last?
Yeah.
Because it's similar to the way in which we would view our life. Like, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. You need to make sure your cardio is in a place in which you can operate at a high level for a long period of time.
Yeah. So we call that work capacity.
Yes.
Okay. In the fitness world, we call it work capacity. And I've seen men, especially we get to middle-aged men and older, their work capacity drops because our primary function these days is sitting, right? Like, that's what so many of us do. And so we lose the ability to go out and sustain an effort. And I bring that up because if you want to actually take care of your body and be able to use your physical skills, you need to be able to ask, what's your work capacity? How long can you go and sustain a higher level of work effort? If you can only do 5 or so minutes, I don't care how strong you are. All right. And so, my sons are in a very high level of military work, and big guys come in all the time, and you think, wow, this guy's a monster. Well, if he can't run a half mile down the road, he's worthless.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll pull you out when we need a door broken, but outside of that. And so the idea here is, what's your work capacity? Mm-hmm. And your work capacity even goes beyond the physical, because your work capacity is a mental toughness as well.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, man, I feel like garbage right now. I just want to break. But no, I have the confidence and I trust my ability and I can keep driving through. So we see that with endurance sports, right? Like, I feel miserable, but no, I know my body can do this. Yeah. And so the brain will override the signaling from the body. What is your work capacity? You need to be able to ask yourself. As a healthy man, I'm asking you, can you do 20 minutes of sustained work? Can you do 30 minutes of sustained work? And when we say sustained work, that's hard work. Mm-hmm. Take a break and then maybe even re-engage again, like you were talking about in the fire service.
Yep.
Okay. If you can't do that, then that's something that I would encourage you to be considering, all right? Yep. And that's not just through things like lifting weights. You have to do the cardio aspect of it as well, if you're going to have work capacity. Yeah. Right.
Well, to that point, Merle, part of one of the next points is the idea of training. Man, we have older guys in the fire service that are in their mid 40s. They operate on the fire ground a lot different than I do. I may go in there, I may be able to get a task done in 2 or 3 minutes and move on to the next one. And a lot of these guys who have been doing it for a while, who are a little bit older, who are more experienced, they understand, okay, this is a long-term game here, right? So I can get the same task done. It may take me a minute longer, 2 minutes longer than Kyle, but I know Kyle can come out, get another bottle, come back in. I'll still be on my first bottle, and I'll be able to move that next task. I'm not going to be moving as fast, but right. I can still sustain that over the long haul. So, I think part of it plays into is understanding your body and understanding your limitations, but also training yourself to push those limits. Let's see how far I can go. But also we're going to get to the end, the finish line. We're going to get there a little bit different. It's going to look a little bit different, but the tasks are going to be done the same.
But you're all going to get to that finish line.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's a great point, that we go through and do things differently. I remember his name slips me now, but the Whitmore, the lineman for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Just
won a Super Bowl.
His first name. Yeah, they just won the Super Bowl. And in an interview with him, I mean, he's an old man relative to his peers on the football field. And the interview basically stated, like, man, I'm not young. I've had to adjust every year at how I still have to stay out on the field and do my job.
Yep.
So I train differently than those young guys do. I don't lift like they do. Yep. I do foot movement differently. I set my body up differently from the get-go. And so that's what you're speaking of, that whole idea of adapting so that you can continue to do the work that you're being asked to do.
Because, again, the battle's still there. It doesn't matter how old you are. Satan doesn't care how old you are. He's going to use that to his advantage, but it's still there.
Yeah, yeah. So a couple things about your physical health is that idea of, be aware of it. Diet, sleep, nutrition, exercise, these things are all really important. It's that multi-prong attack that you say, I need to be more aware of this, because at the end of the day, I've always said this, like as I've gotten older, like I don't know about going to the Olympics anytime soon, but I want to be able to go out and interact well with my family, with my kids. Like if all of a sudden somebody says, hey, you want to go play a game of softball, like I would not be going, oh, well, I don't know. Okay, I want to be able to go do that. And so being able to take care of the diet, sleep, and the exercise part on a regular basis makes me much more available to do those things.
Yep. Merle, I mean, obviously we're talking, it's going to happen. The battle's going to happen. Man, when it comes to the idea is really recognize when you are, if you want to call it a dark place, when you feel like you're down on your luck, right? Again, spiritual warfare. When you feel like Satan is really, attacking your physical health, man, that you have to recognize that. You have to understand that you are under attack. Start noticing some of the times, stress does crazy things to your body. It's going to cause illnesses. It's going to cause the anxiety to come up. But along with recognizing that you're under attack, man, what a great time to humble yourself and ask for help, to reach out to a friend, to reach out to a coach, a counselor, whatever that looks like. Man, recognize when you're under attack, and then the flip side of that is don't be shy about asking for help. It's very hard for men typically to ask for that help, but man, don't do this alone.
Yeah.
Bring other people along for this ride.
Yeah, exactly. Just the camaraderie of the team helps get the task done a whole lot better. We're all joining arms there. So, guys, hopefully as you start to see more and more about the importance of the physical battle, of what we are preparing for, you see that as men, we are called to be strong. We are called to be available and to be able to do the work and not sit around and wait to see if somebody else will do it for us. And so we're asking you as a man to set yourself up to win here, right? Take care of yourself, be aware of it, and don't be so quick to get on the phone to call for the serviceman to come in and do your work when you know what, you can do this. All right. Yeah. I wanted to read something a little bit about in Job. Okay. You and I were talking a little bit about this. Job is one of our favorite and least favorite books.
Yes. Good point.
Because, in the book of Job, it's just like, here we got God talking to Satan, and it feels like they're cutting deals, and it's all at the expense of Job.
Oh, poor Job.
And it's like, what the heck? But I think what we have here is a demonstration of how we have free will, and Satan takes full advantage of that. And God is now showing us different areas and different ways that we will be approached by Satan. And one of the things that he talks about here is how Satan is going to go after our flesh. He's going to go after our flesh, because if I can get you to fall to your knees concerning your flesh, in other words, you just hurt so bad you can't move, eventually you will curse God. You will curse God. You will be like, ugh, and you will fall to whatever quick fix you can get that Satan is going to be offering. And so this starts in verse 4, where Satan and God are talking, and Satan replies, a man will give all he has for his own life. All right. But then verse 5 says, but now stretch out your hand and strike his flesh and bones, and he will surely curse you to your face. And so Satan is saying this, right? Yeah. Like he's saying, stretch out your hands. You curse his hands, and you strike his hands, and he will curse you. Yeah. It's one of our first things that we do. Right? We give up. And the Lord said to Satan, very well then, he is in your hands, but you must spare his life. So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord and afflicted Job with painful sores from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. Then Job took a piece of broken pottery and scraped himself with it as he sat among the ashes. He's already been through a bunch of garbage by this point, okay? And so he sits there. Now, without reading the whole book, he doesn't curse God here. Everyone says he should, right? Yeah. Everyone says, man, why do you put up with that garbage? But he comes back and does not curse God, because he knows that his flesh is just his flesh, all right? And he needs to stand strong against that. So I think that's a great reminder for us, whether we're dealing with cancer or illness or just hurts and pains, that we have to really realize how Satan is trying to pull us down and finally give up and deny God.
Yeah, which is a great way to kind of as we're closing out this show, man. again, recognizing when those times come. But man, when you're in the midst of it, when you're preparing yourself, when you're past it and you're trying to move on, man, we have to invite God into this. All through Job continues to pray and continues to say, like, God, like, get me out of this. I need help. This is I need you to come in here. Yes, I mean there are times where Job is like, God, why is this happening? Right? Why is this happening to me? But through the whole process, even afterwards, after God fulfills his promise and tenfold gives Job back what he lost, man, through the whole process, we have to continue to invite God into what we're doing, the process in which we're preparing ourselves, recognize when we're in it, the post, after every fire, we come back to the firehouse and we'll sit around the coffee table. What could we have done better next time? Man, what a great way. Invite God into that process to allow him to make you a better man the next time when that battle's going to happen, because it's going to. You're going to continue to get challenged, because Satan ain't giving up on you just because you defeat him once or twice. He is not giving up. He's going to continue to try and attack your physical health.
Yeah. All right. So I hope this is a great reminder for you guys. We need you, our strong dads, more than ever. We know that we need strong dads in the home. We need them to be great husbands. We need them to be physically capable and ready to take care of their family. And so we hope that this encourages you guys and reminds you guys. I've got a challenge, all right?
All right.
The challenge here is, let's put something on the calendar, right? Let's put something on the calendar that gets you thinking more about your physical presence and your health, okay? It could be something this week on the calendar. I'm going to put on a doctor's appointment. I'm going to call the doc and say, you know what, I haven't had my checkup. I haven't had any screenings in a while. Maybe I'm going to do that. It might be, you know what, I'm calling Jim and I'm going to go ahead and sign up. I'm going to go ahead and get a membership. It might be that you say, I'm going to, starting this week, I'm going to start going out and running. Whatever it is, like, this week, put something on the calendar that makes you more accountable to your physical health.
I like it. That's a good challenge.
You got it.
I'm gonna struggle to figure out where I'm putting this on my calendar here, Merle. I got some physically demanding stuff coming up, so I think what a great
yes,
challenge to kind of get out there and to begin to prepare ourselves for those battles. So I hope you guys got something out of the show. I hope you're excited about this little mini series we got coming up. Going to continue to put out shows every week for you. Upcoming weeks. Kind of keep going with this series. Before we close it out, I want to definitely thank Quality Auto Mart and Casey's Outdoor Solutions for coming alongside of us. Thanks so much for you guys to continue to listen and continue to share our shows on all the platforms. Share the heck out of this stuff. There's somebody out there that's dealing with physical health that they need a little bit of boost. They need a little they need someone to hopefully come alongside them and be with them as they're going through this.
All right. So thanks for listening to Strong Dads. Go out there and be a strong dad.
Boom.
Boom.
Strong Dads wants to thank Quality Auto Mart for joining us as a sponsor. Quality Auto Mart was born in 1985. They are owned and operated by Mark and Nancy Repke. Quality Auto Mart provides all the services, repairs, and maintenance for your vehicle's needs with a 3-year auto parts and labor warranty. They offer complimentary vehicle safety inspection and estimates. Also, they offer a shuttle service, and the 4th oil change is always on them. They are located at 7307 on State Road 46 in Batesville, Indiana. Make sure you give them a call at 812-934-2301.